Have you noticed how many people are dying recently? I mean, famous people like that CNN chef Anthony Bourdain, I think. I don't know how you pronounce his name exactly, but he apparently hanged himself in a hotel room, or at least that's what is being described in the media. He was 61, I believe, or no, maybe he was 67. I don't know. He was in his 60s. He hanged himself, and then about the same day, Krauthammer, who's a news analyst for Fox News, announced that he has cancer, very late stage cancer, and that he only has weeks to live, which is, very, very sad. Um, if you look around, the people who are your age or near your age, you might be noticing a lot more people seem to be dying lately. And it's not an illusion. It's a fact. More people are dying of cancer, and more people are dying of suicide. It's so bad now that suicide has become the 10th leading cause of death in America. And there's a lot that goes with that you have to understand. For example, the number one form of suicide is shooting yourself. And that's why, so-called gun violence statistics look very high, because people just happen to choose to use a gun to commit suicide. So it makes it look like there's a lot of shootings when it's actually just suicide for most of those cases. So, it can be deceptive if you hear people say, well, there's so many shooting deaths in America. You think that one person shot another person. In most cases, it's actually people shooting themselves, which is very sad. The other thing is you got the opioid crisis to deal with, and people are committing suicide. People who are addicts are committing suicide because of the destruction of their lives that comes from the addiction, whether it's opioids or meth or heroin or other drugs, prescription drugs as well. It destroys their life. It destroys so much of what people value in life, a sense of dignity and a sense of self-reliance. You can't hold down a job, obviously, if you're using meth on a regular basis, or heroin for that matter. And so these addictive drugs are causing many people to turn to suicide as well. And then you have all of the cancer. And this is actually the subject of this podcast, the fact that there's so many intelligent, capable people in society who are, high IQ individuals, let's say. They're attorneys, or they're engineers, or they're architects, or doctors, or writers, what have you. And they can be very, very intelligent and yet have almost zero knowledge about how to take care of their own bodies, which I've always found to be totally stunning. It's like, if you're smart enough to have a PhD, why don't you know that hot dogs contain sodium nitrite that causes cancer? How can you be so smart in one area and yet be completely ignorant in this other area that involves your body? I mean, I understand being ignorant of things that have nothing to do with you. For example, maybe you're not a car mechanic, and so you don't know how to overhaul a transmission. Well, that's fine. You don't need to, because you don't have a transmission in your body. I mean, you have it in your car, but you can, if your car goes bad, you don't die. But when it comes to your body, if you lose your liver, you die. Or if your kidneys go bad, you could die. Or if you get cancer, you could die. So every person who has a body, which hopefully is everybody, no pun intended, but every person who has a body should know something about how to take care of that body, and yet people don't. And you see them just funneled through the grocery store buying all the toxic cancer-causing crap and heart disease-promoting, diabetes-promoting garbage. And some of these people are PhDs and scientists and expert thinkers, even doctors and so on. And they haven't figured out how to take care of themselves. So it's very sad to me to see this when the answers to health are so simple. And they are basically the answers that I've been teaching for over 15 years at this point, which is to stop poisoning your body, stop eating pesticides and herbicides, stop taking in all these toxic heavy metals, and get rid of the toxins in the personal care products. People poison themselves 500 different ways before they even leave the house each day, for the most part. with shampoo and deodorant. There can be 20 different toxic poisons in a deodorant stick, and you put it on your skin under your arm where it's sure to be absorbed. And then people wonder why they get cancer. And that's the thing. And then they don't eat the anti-cancer foods. I mean, we have a website, cancer.news. Half of the front page is dedicated to things that cause cancer. The other half is dedicated to things that stop cancer or reverse cancer. You should check it out. Cancer.news is very useful. Well, why don't all these smart scientist people and doctors and so on, why don't they just go to cancer.news and learn about the things that prevent cancer and start doing those things? It's so simple. I can probably name 25 things that you can do to prevent cancer right now. I mean, just from there's at least 25 different foods that have anti-cancer compounds in them. Everything from pomegranates and celery and citrus, red grapes and grape seeds, cruciferous vegetables. The glucosinolates that are in different cruciferous vegetables. There's the chia seeds. There's garlic and onions, and then there's turmeric and different roots and ginger. I mean, just goes on and on. This doesn't even count vitamin D and sunlight, stress reduction, time in nature, humor. I mean, mind, body medicine, all these things. There's so many things that you can do to prevent cancer, and yet we have some of the world's most intelligent people dying of cancer because they never learned how to take care of themselves. That's just this mass human tragedy. And it's avoidable. And yet, you look at people who have the answers, like my website, Natural News, or cancer.news, like I mentioned, or food.news. We have the answers. And so how does society treat those of us who have answers to save lives? We're censored. We're suppressed. Because we teach people not to need medication, right? We teach people how to prevent cancer. So we take away money from the cancer industry. We take away money from the pharmaceutical industry. We teach self-reliance. We teach intelligent, rational, informed, healthy living and disease prevention. And that's why we're censored. And which brings me to the point of Google being so incredibly evil. YouTube, completely banned my channel. Google has banned our information before and penalizes us. Facebook, Twitter banned us the other day for 1 day and then turned us back on. Why are we being banned? Again, because we are helping people avoid becoming diseased and avoid hospitals and doctors and surgeons and pharmaceuticals and cancer drugs and so on. So the society in which we all live today is a society that punishes those who help humanity. And then it celebrates those who are destroying life. Think about what's celebrated in our society right now. Planned Parenthood abortion centers, celebrated. Big pharmaceutical, cancer oncology treatment centers that murder people with the toxic side effects, celebrated. Any movies and TV that promotes violence and sex and prostitution and just on-screen depictions of drug abuse and sex addiction and all these things. Even that series Billions on Showtime with Paul Giamatti. It's just got these gratuitous like S&M sex torture dominance scenes. I don't know what they are. They're sick scenes. They got to have them in there. Because everything that is celebrated in society today is about destroying life. Even teaching people that if you have children, it's bad for the planet. Teaching people that euthanasia should be the preferred way to take people out of the world. Teaching people that depopulation is a solution. This is the death message, and it's no coincidence that mass death has followed already. It's already accelerating, and they're going to install the 5G wireless systems to make sure they fry all your brains with cancer. Everybody, all of you who live in a city, you're going to be exposed to massive energies of high energy, short frequency, wavelength, electromagnetic pollution. It's going to penetrate your skull. It's going to give you brain tumors. It's called 5G. And they're going to install these 5G antennae all over the country. And you're going to get cancer and die. And the cancer industry will profit, you see. So it's all about how they make more money for the industries that thrive on disease and suffering. And at the same time, it's about punishing those or silencing those who might want to save lives and improve the quality of human life. And that's a summary. That's the overview of what's actually happening. And it's why, if you're a fan of my work and Natural News, you and I are people who defend life, and we support healthy living, and we are surrounded by a culture of death. We are literally surrounded by a culture of almost demonic, satanic destruction of life, a culture that's steeped in deception and steeped in human suffering for profit, greed, all those negative things. So our job is to navigate and survive that culture of death that's all around us, which I've called a suicide cult, that humanity is a suicide cult. But it doesn't mean that you have to go down with the ship. So you can still choose to be healthy, even though you're living in a suicide cult. You're surrounded by a suicide cult, which we all are, sadly. And I guess the upshot of all this is that choices matter. And when you see people your age dying around you while you're healthier because you're doing superfoods and you're doing disease prevention and you're eating anti-cancer foods and so on, just recognize that food has consequences and lifestyle habits have consequences. So you will live longer, you will have better brain function, you will have better immune function because of the positive choices that you make. You can try to help reach out to others, but you'll find that most people who are self-destructive, most people are suicidal, most people do not want to be helped with their health choices. They don't want to be told what to do. They'd rather just kill themselves slowly with their pesticides and their GMOs and whatever their drinking habit, whatever they're doing. So do your best to navigate that system and don't be consumed by it. Rise above it and help others rise above it if you can. Thanks for listening. Mike Adams here, the Health Ranger, NaturalNews.com.
Learn more at healthrangerreport.com.
Thank you for watching. If you want to support our mission, visit us at healthrangerstore.com for the world's largest selection of lab-verified superfood and nutritional products for healthy living. It's at healthrangerstore.com.